Hi, hi, hi. Whew, we are live. It's 6 on the dot. 6 on the dot. 6 on the dot. 6 on the dot. So, hi everyone. Thank you guys for joining in. And if you're going to be watching the replay, thank you for watching the replays. So, finalizing the conversation that we started on Friday about drugs and how we're going to raise our kids and how we're going to navigate this whole terrain of drugs, and all of us are just being so overwhelmed with what's going on. What can we do? How are we going to fix it? And we had quite the conversation on Friday. Unfortunately, we couldn't finish, so this is our comeback, and the weather is looking good. David is around. Okay. Very good. Hello.
Hello, good
What is
afternoon.
going on at your end?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but there's this sound at the background.
Up to now?
It's still
Can you
there.
hear me? I don't
I
know. I
can hear
don't know.
you, but
Maybe it's network or maybe it's my earphones because there's it's totally like clear on my
yeah,
end here. Maybe I should use. Is it still bad?
okay, it's perfectly quiet now. Hi, David. Now I know
Uh,
why you did not want us to do this live on Saturday. It was your birthday and you were busy rocking and chopping live.
oh
Is it
no,
good?
no, that's not it.
Is
First
it
of
a
all,
good thing?
we were live on. We were live on. Oh, we were live on Friday. I remember now. It was Friday. We were live.
Yeah, we're live on Friday. And I was like, okay, what's happening
By
this
the way,
weekend? I wanted to ask.
you're slanted. You're like I can see you like vertical. Is it vertical or horizontal? What is it? You're that
Okay.
way.
I can see you that way too. Okay, so let me just turn my screen then. Let me turn my screen.
Perfect
Let
now.
me turn my screen. Okay, it was on my eyes. So something is popping up on my eyes.
That much better.
Okay. Okay. Now my eyes is my eyes now.
Yeah. Yes. Your eyes are your
All
eyes now.
right. So what's up? Happy birthday to you. I mean, like it
Thank you.
got me so emotional. Like I just thought about your journey, where you've
Really.
been, how the
Okay.
things you've overcome, and the fact that you were celebrating your birthday. It brought me so much joy in my heart. Like
Thank you
seriously.
very much. I appreciate it. We
And
went
I
to
stopped small
rehabilitation.
talks.
Yeah, we
It
went to
wasn't bad enough
rehabilitation
that you were
center.
say that again.
I still went to rehabilitation center. I think I mentioned that on Friday. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
So
you went on Friday now.
on Friday. So it was just like part of the whole plans for the whole Saturday thing and all of that. And
Oh,
on
so it
Saturday,
was the
it was
gearing up.
visited. Exactly.
All
We now
right.
went to the bunk. We went
Oh,
to share love with some of the addicts who have been abandoned by their families, the society, the government, and things like that. So yeah, it was good. It was good. It was good.
well, I'm glad you had fun. So
Thank you
thank
very
you
much.
everyone who has joined us. Queen Zika, finally, she made it to one of my lives. Thanks for popping in. Thank you. Maureen Igwe, Wealth and Beauty by Mandy. Thank you guys for coming on board. It's a really serious conversation we're having here. So I'll just quickly do a recap. So David Folaranmi is one of those people from really cool, decent, everything okay homes that somehow still ended up doing not just cigarettes or Igbo, but the high expensive ones that most of us cannot even afford, even if we wanted to start doing drugs. So that's where he took his own from. But thankfully he has done the 360. Is like our go-to guy. If you are afraid of anything drugs, raising your kids, and that's why that's why I feel so blessed that we're having this conversation with you. We can learn, and I know that one of your life's goals, from what I've seen, is no child or person should ever go through what you went through. And I just
Exactly.
want to thank you. So we talked about a lot last week about drugs, about, safety tips, how do we identify and stuff like that. So guys, if you're watching now and you're not catching up, because we don't want this live to be too long, because I realize watching the replays when it's getting to 1 hour is kind of excruciating, even for me. So my goal now is to bring shorter lives so that people can benefit, people can, kind of come on board later on and watch the replays. So David Folaranmi and my name is Ayo Ayeni. For people who don't know me, I'm an advocate for wellness of women and children and everything that borders around it. And today we are discussing how are we going to raise our children in this environment where the drugs are not only available, they are accessible. Like the Western was, everything we thought was Western is now Nigerian. So just forget all those geographical barriers. And we've been talking to David since on Friday. So we just wanted to, mention all the things that we didn't mention before. So a quick recap, I've told you he's like the guy that did 360 and got his life back. And we talked about so many things. So we are just going to continue from where we left off. Right. So we had already talked about, you were describing how to identify somebody who is on drugs. You said their eyes will give them away. Either the eyes is too dilated or too thin. Right.
Yeah. You have other factors such as irrational behavior, agitation, tremor, shaking. Obviously, like I mentioned the other day, you have an unkempt nature. You don't dress properly or neatly. And then sleeping too much. You also have slurred speech. Like I'm talking to you and I start going, that kind of stuff. So you have slurred speech. So these are some of the signs that somebody has started using, early signs of using drugs.
Wow, that's crazy. So what I just did was because we talked about a lot. So I just sat down and said, okay, what are the things we didn't cover? So you mentioned that when you were your family background was really great and amazing. Everything was looking good. So what was that thing that made, Christian background, everything? What was that thing at the point where you decided that it's any big deal gone? Let me just see what this thing is about. After being pressured multiple times, in fairness to you,
to
say, okay, what was the thing that made you just make that decision? What was the thing that made you to take that leap? I'm asking this because we want to prepare our children for when they will ever be in that situation where should I or should I not? So that's the goal of this question. So what was that thing that made you say, okay, let me try it? What was that thing?
It's a very good question. I'll answer it both ways. And it's a good question because most of our children, most of our young ones and teenagers, young adults are going to face the exact same thing I faced. And they're going to be faced with these substances by friends or family members or stuff like that. Now, first of all, the main thing that did not let me say no was curiosity. We'll have to talk about curiosity. I began to feel, okay, what exactly is in this thing that they say I shouldn't try. That's one. Then two, I didn't have proper enlightenment about the repercussions of drug abuse. Most times, all we hear is drug abuse is bad for you, is bad for you, is bad for you. But then you don't actually understand the depth of how bad, of the depth of the damage it can actually do to you. I didn't have that understanding. Nobody told me about it. So those are the two reasons. If I had more education or more insight on what it will cost me, if I could see the next 7 years and I could tell that the next 7 years of my life will be bad, I'll be fighting addiction, I wouldn't have gone into it.
Wow. Okay. So in terms of us as parents now raising our children, how can we prepare them for that moment? So they will get curious about many things. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, right? So what are the things that we can say to them to say, look, if you are ever faced with these kinds of situation, X and Y and Z is what you should do. On World Tobacco Day, UN did this question and answer thing for children being lured into smoking. And it was very interesting. So maybe we can come up with our own template. Say, okay, if you are ever lured into something like this, or this is what you should do or say.
Good. Right? That will help. That will help a great deal. But I also believe in pictorial evidence. What I do is, you're not on my WhatsApp, so I think maybe after this session I should get your number. Most times I do this thing on my status sometimes when I show before and after pictures of drug abuse, including my own. On my Instagram page, there's a before and after
I
picture.
saw yours on your Instagram. I'm like, wow. Oh, everybody in my house was screaming.
And you know what? That before picture you're seeing was when I was actually better. I had just come out of
Wow.
rehab. So you can imagine what I looked like before then. That day was that picture, I took that picture in church because people were like, oh, he looks good now. And that was the, in quotes, bad picture I'm using for before now. So you can imagine how I looked when I was actually inside of it. So there are pictures of people like Macaulay Culkin, the Home Alone guy. I don't know if you've seen him in his drug abuse state. So we
Wow.
need to show children pictures and videos of real life stories, what has actually happened to people who have dabbled into this thing. That will remain in their memories, that will remain in their brain. Those pictures, those videos will remain embedded on their minds, and they know that, okay, if I do this, this is what is going to happen to me. So that's one of the ways to actually help with our children, which is why we need to provide the education and the technical know-how for parents, teachers, caregivers, words, and school teachers to be able to disseminate this information to younger ones.
Absolutely. Okay. So now, peer pressure is a very important factor in all these things we are talking about. In your case, it's the same. Like the guy just kept coming, even though the Holy Spirit was there telling you, don't do it. But the persistence was just so persistent. So how can we help them? So how can we help them navigate peer pressure? You know, like what if you had a do-over? What would you have done? Would you have stayed away from this friend from the first day he offered you drugs? You know, what? How can we help them navigate peer pressure and make better choices?
Exactly. If I could relive that experience, I'll stay away from this friend. Now, if you know somebody is going to give you poison, you wouldn't associate with that person anymore. But you also need to be very, very confident to be able to talk to your parents. You know, most of us parents, we scare our children away. We just make them feel, oh, you did this, and it's the if you don't spare the rod, you're going to spoil the future, blah, 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 blah. It's always not the case. It's always not the case. You must make yourself approachable. You must make yourself open. You must have an opened up policy where your child can walk up to you and say, Mom, this is what this person is saying. It's the same thing as sexual advancement in ladies. If a lady can be able to tell her mother or her father, look, this guy is pestering me and is pestering me, they will be able to talk her out of it and let her know that, look, if this guy actually loves you, he'll be able to wait for the right time. But if she can't talk to you, her parents, then she now talks to probably another of her mates who will not advise her very well. Just say, no, it's not that bad. You can try it. You know, we all do it. We all do it. There's nothing wrong with it. So the parents must make sure they have an opened door policy where your child can tell you anything. If it sounds so strange, don't even let the child know that you are taken aback by what he or she said. Make it look as if, that's what happened. No, you don't need to do this. Then when the child goes, you can put your hand on your head and say, oh my God, what did he just say? You know what? Exactly. But don't scare them away by saying, oh, what? This, that. No. Make yourself approachable. Make yourself talkable. Make yourself open that they can say anything to you. And then they will now come to you with these things and say, this person is actually giving me this thing to try. And you can now actually talk them out of it.
Wow, that's a very good one. One thing I tell my children rather about peer pressure is, look, the truth of the matter is your friends don't really know much more than you. If you have any friends that know more than you, it's just tiny. So they are the worst people to go to.
Exactly.
When you have important questions. So that's my own mantra with my children. Like, look, don't be deceived. No matter how they appear, they don't really know much more than you. So that's one of the lines I use with my own children. Anyway, so you spoke about drugs being available online, that people are now retailing drugs on Instagram. Please, can you tell us more about that? Because I mean, like, kids are on Instagram, kids are on all these social media places now. So what is the tactics? Because we that we are mere mortals now, we don't see them. Me, I've never seen it. And the truth is, we won't see it. That's the scary part. We won't see it. So can you tell us, like, what is their strategy? Who are they?
The thing is, like I've said before, we need to educate the parents and caregivers on the tricks most of these horrible people are using. Now,
we don't know most of these.
That's the problem.
That's why we are here.
Most of these drug dealers, most of these drugs have street names. You know, nobody's going to call cocaine on Instagram. Somebody's going to say powder. Do you care for some powder? Now, a drug dealer is not going to use his face either. on Instagram. He'll probably use the face of a skimpily dressed lady. He's going to invite a young person. The person is going to accept. Eventually, he's going to tell you, look, he has some powder for sale. He wants you to do some. Are you interested in some powder? That's an example. That's an example of the person who wanted to sell to me. That's the example he used, And then they now show you videos of people using and those images that make it look all cool. And they say, okay, all you need to do is to send the money to so account, and then we'll make a drop off for you. And they actually do it, and it's actually horrible. They actually show you online how to snort a line of cocaine, or how to light a pack with crack cocaine, or how to inject.
In case you don't know how to do it.
Exactly. They actually tell you where these crack houses are, where you can come to and have a safe haven with other people who are using. They show videos of people who are using and all of that. So the person who tried that with me, I reported the person, and the person is no longer online. But I'm very sure that there are many, many more people like that who are preying on young, innocent people on Instagram and other social media networks.
Wow. This is I never expected this. When I was writing this question, I didn't expect any answer like what you just said. Oh, my God.
It's happening.
Okay. So, you mentioned that, people get their drinks list. And after our first live, when I started discussing in the house that, hey, people should gather and come and hear what my ears just heard today. So you said some people will have their drugs list, maybe innocent girls, drinks. Young boys, drinks and stuff like that. You even mentioned things like banana. Guys are as desperate as that to, get folks involved. So now my question, and the question that people were asking me was, okay, so if I've never used drugs before at all in my life, and I take a drink that is laced with drugs, how can I get addicted? Like, in the first instance, I don't even know what just happened to me. I'm not aware that it is drug that is causing it. I'm not aware of where to go to get drugs. Like, let me use myself as an example. I'll just think something funny happened. So how do people get stuck with drugs by, those first initial contacts they have with it?
If, God forbid, and I wouldn't use you because God forbid, if somebody, not you, has his or her drink list, if somebody has his or her drink list, you're going to feel a chemical imbalance in your brain. You're going to know for sure that something has happened. Now, it could be a negative. You could feel it in it's bad, or every way is bad, but you could feel it in a negative way or in a positive way. You can feel it such that you're so irritated with yourself that you hate yourself. What is all of this about? Or you feel it like, this has never happened to me. I want to know what happened. I want to have that feeling again. And then you actually now go out of your way to look for it. And most times, if your drink is actually laced, the person who laced that drink is still going to show up. You're going to find out who did it, and you're going to have access to wherever that person got the drugs from. Most times than not. Because the person who laced the drink actually wants you eventually to know your drink was laced. The person wasn't just doing it so that you have an initial feeling of how drugs taste and you'll disappear. No. He wants you to know how it feels so that he can come up and say, yeah, I'm the one that did it, and you can ask him to help you get more. And that way you get addicted.
Wow. So these are, okay, so you mentioned some people who are even, whose drinks or stuff are being laced, probably because they want to rob them or harm them in a certain way. What about this group of people? Those people who will do that kind of thing, they won't stick around. Will they still stick around?
Okay, good. For those people, for example, if a lady's drink is laced and then she's sexually abused, most times she knows that, okay, something happened to me, something horrible happened to me because my drink was laced. So that's a very, very negative, horrible experience, and it might not immediately, she might not want to go back to relieve that experience by going to look for drugs anymore. So because of the negative experience that came from lacing that drink, that experience might have a stronger impact on her than for her to want to go and start using drugs anymore. Yeah, so most times than not, that negative experience weighs on her mind. So she's not thinking about going to use drugs anymore. So most times when such incidents happens, the person doesn't get addicted, at least not immediately.
Okay. But for those guys that get addicted, they are usually dealers who want to sell to you.
Exactly. They're usually dealers who want to sell to you. So they make you feel it and know how it feels, and then they start giving you uncontrollable. And that happens a lot in parties, in our clubs, in our pubs, gardens, beer parlors, and all. That happens a lot.
So now I feel like most parents should have taken one or two things on what to do. Like Aboro Lanso Fomoluabi. At this point, all of us should wear our Omoluabi jacket and listen now. So now, for people who have already gotten exposed to these kinds of things, so now you talked about outreaches. You asked me a very important question, like, am I part of those people who are unempathetic towards drug users? I gave you an immediate answer, but I went back and I really thought about it. I thought about it really hard, and I realized that there are people that I know from my childhood who started using drugs for one reason. Some of them were family issues, bad gathering around the wrong folks and stuff. And one of them is even like mentally ill today, like he has to be physically restrained.
Wow.
It's gotten that bad. Many of them haven't gotten their lives back. I know about 3. So now, and I said, okay, so this has happened now. In terms of creating a little bit more empathy towards people that are suffering from this disease, as you called it, is a disease of the mind, is a mental thing,
brain disease,
and they need to be helped. So in support of creating empathy among us as a people towards this group of addicts, how does reaching out with toiletries and showing up in their bunkers, bunks. How does it really help? Because you go there, you give them toiletries, because you mentioned that sometimes it's so bad that they would rather save their money to do drugs than get soap to take a bath or get sanitary pads for their period. So how does this really help in the long run? Giving them what basic stuff they need, and you leave them there, and we all go back, and you keep visiting them. What is the effect of this? Because I'm asking this question because I'm trying to encourage as many more people to get involved in this movement.
Okay, good. Thank you for that question. It gives them a sense of belonging. Now, like, I had 2 radio stations invite me over today, and in the first one, when I was discussing some of the things we did, they asked the same question. Now, I answered them by saying, drug users require compassion, they require understanding, care, and empathy. You need to put yourself in their shoes. You need to realize that, look, they don't want to do these things, but they're bound by wrong choices they've made, and they can't come out of this bondage. So if a regular person can actually spend money on soap or toilet paper or sanitary towels or medication or food, they too want to spend money on those things, but they can't, because their brains that controls their spending will not let them. Their brains will dictate to them what they should use their money for, which will be drugs instead of those things. So if you give them these things, they will use it, they will appreciate it, they will know that, okay, we've not been thrown to the wolves, we've not been thrown out, we've not been neglected by the society. There are people who actually care for us, and that's actually a step to recovery. The fact that they know that they have a sense of belonging, the fact that they know that people actually want them to get better is a step to recovery. I used to tell people that the first line of defense for any recovering addict is the family. Because when this person knows that this family still wants me better, this family still believes in me, this person still believes in my capabilities, this person still believes I have a role to play in the society, then, you start the battlefield of the mind. That gives you room to actually battle your addiction. But the moment everybody says, look, whatever happens to you, you give up. Everybody has given up on you. It's easy for your mind to give up on you. So you're not fighting anymore. So what we do is, when we go to these people, we encourage them. We tell them that we understand how they feel. We don't go there and give them money, because if you give them money, they'll spend it on drugs. We go there and give them the things, we go there and give them the things that they need to actually live a civil life. Because if you go there, Ayo, you will be surprised where people live. You can't. If I take you there, you wouldn't believe a human being would actually live there. People live in vomits, in excreta. People actually sleep there, sit there, eat there, live there. So they need a sense of belonging, that they are not animals. People actually care about them. People want them to get better. There are many stories. If you follow Tony Rapo, I follow him very well, and I follow his ministry very well. You see stories of people like Halima, or other people that he has helped come out of these bunks, and you see how they are now, and compare it to how they were then. That's why
I
we
think
do
I saw
what
I
we
saw
do.
I saw that Halima picture. It was really
Okay.
profound. It was
Yes,
unbelievable.
that's exactly how it is in the bunks. That's exactly how everybody is in the bunks. So that's why we do what we do. We give them a sense of belonging. We give them a sense of, look, you are needed in the society. You can be better. You don't have to die in this. We are actually here for you. And we believe it helps in the long run.
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Okay,
Are you
you
there?
went up
Yes.
for a bit. Here. I
Okay,
can hear
network,
you
I
now.
guess. Okay. So yeah, that's what I was saying. I said that's why we believe it helps in the long run. It helps them with their recovery.
Wow. This is also very profound because I've been battling with those ideas in my head, and this makes so much sense. Okay, so the last question we were talking about the last time before we the network cut us off was that some people now, their children are already doing drugs, like young children, like
Okay.
13, 14. It may be the lower end, like cigarette or igbo or stuff, but some of their children are already on drugs now. They have no idea because all of us
Okay.
are involved in this. We are confusing it for just youthful exuberance or teenage years, or those rebellious teenage years. So
Okay.
what can you say to people who, because I mean, and sometimes as a parent, your instincts will tell you, but two things: number one, we are usually in denial; number two, we are usually, again, we lack knowledge. As you said, we don't even know what to look out for, so we just brush it aside. Sometimes I know
Exactly.
parents will say, in conscience, something is wrong with this child. This is not normal behavior. And all of us will say, it's just childhood, it's just teenage years. But I'm convinced that there are many families now that they have children who are using already, but they are not aware, and they are confusing it for youthful exuberance. So can you help us differentiate what a parent should look at? What are the alarm bells that should go off in your head that should tell you that, look, this is not just stubbornness. This is not just teenage exuberance. This is something else. What are the
Well,
telltale signs?
like I said, first of all, don't confuse any telltale signs of drug abuse for youthful exuberance, because you are going to cry at the end of the day. Now, now we what I'll do is, you must watch. You must know your child's temperament. Everybody is different. So I can't tell you that because Mr. A is agitated always, and Mr. B is quiet always, that means Mr. A has started doing drugs. No, it doesn't always happen like that. It's not cast in stone. It's not cast in stone. And I can't just tell you for sure that these are the things that once you see them doing, they started doing drugs. But I can tell you a few things that once they begin to happen, you should tighten your belt and actually pay attention to that child. Like I said, if he starts having slurred speech, I've told you about the dilated eyes, it becomes unkept. Starts having money problems, money issues. It's always, mommy, I need money for this, mommy, I need money for that. Becomes extremely secretive, lack of confidence. I think these six things, basically. Once you notice that your child has started experiencing these things, you need to actually pay more attention to that child. You need to know where he or she goes. You need to know the kind of people he spends his or her time with. And then you can actually do periodic tests. We have test kits. Okay, it's just a little bit far from me because I took one with me to the rehab. I brought it to show you, except you want to hold on, let me get it. We have test kits, that urine test kits here, that you can just pee on, and you can mandate your child to take it. He's your child. You gave birth to him. You pay his bills or her bills. You can mandate him or her to take it. All they need to do is to pee on it, just like the pregnancy testing. And then it shows you the cocaine, heroin, cigarettes, everything. It shows you what is in that child's system. It's about 10,000 naira, and I think it's worth it. There are parents that do this periodically for their children. You can just look, pee in a glass, pee in a cup, and I dip it in it for 10 minutes, and it shows me what's in your system. So you can't just do that to any child at any time. But once you begin to notice that this person looks like he or she is going off, you can have the conversation first. And if the child denies it, you say, okay, I want you to prove it to me. I'll apologize to you if it all comes out negative. And then if the child has nothing to hide, the child should be able to do that.
Oh, this is very interesting. I'm having
Yeah,
to take deep breath.
for example, in church back in Abuja, I'm working the Teens Church unit. So I speak to parents. I try to organize seminars, and I base most of what I do on drug abuse and all of that. Now, there's this girl. She's a teenager in her mid-teens. She dressed very shabbily to church one day, and I called her and I asked her, "Look, I don't like the way you're dressing. It is wrong. It's unbecoming of a child of God, and I want you to change." And she told me to my face, "Sir, you can't tell me how to dress. My mother bought this dress for me." Okay, the boldness, I mean, because I like to think I'm a bit strict and a little bit of a disciplinarian, the boldness was too much. And I felt that, look, something is wrong. She was just 16. And I called the mother and I spoke to the mother. And the mother says her daughter never talks back at anybody. And I said, okay, is it possible that she has started using? Because she looks too unkempt. A 16-year-old girl wants to look neat and, cream and prop with her hair. That's a
Mhm.
16-year-old girl. She was beginning to look too shabby for me. And then I know her school. Her school is notorious for having a few bad eggs. So immediately I said, look, I'll talk to her about drug abuse. Her mother said, no, no, no. Her daughter was raised in the way of the Lord. I said, no, ma. I know what I'm telling you. I have an experience of schoolgirls, young schoolgirls, who have been introduced into drugs, and then their lives ended prematurely. So the mother said, okay, but then I have to talk to her in the presence of an adult from her family. I said, fine, you can call your husband, everybody, we'll have the talk here in church. So she said, okay. So we sat down, we spoke to her, and the girl denied it at first. So I said, okay, do you want to do a test? And she said, what sort of test? I said, I'm just going to, you and your mom will go into the ladies, you pee in a cup, she's going to dip this inside, and we're going to find out what you've been taking and what you've not been taking. And immediately the girl started crying, and she told us that she has started using crack cocaine at 16. Immediately I asked
Yes.
her, how long have you started using this? Who introduced it to you? She said it was a friend in school, a senior. I think he was in SS3 or whatever, I don't know. And she was in SS1 or SS2 at the time. So a friend introduced it to her, and this is all she has taken. I said, okay, how much have you taken? Where did you get it? How can we get in touch with this person? And she gave us all the details. And then the case was handled from the school levels. Her school was changed. So it was nipped in the bud. It was nipped in the bud
Mm.
because I noticed her parents who came out from the same house with her to church that Sunday did not notice. But because I had I had an eye for it, I knew that this girl at 16 shouldn't be dressing like this. She's dressing too shabbily. I mean, she's coming to church where she knows that boys will be looking at her. She wants to dress nicely. It's natural. You want to dress nicely. So immediately, I thank God she's much better now. Her school was changed. I'm not in Abuja now, so I haven't spoken to them in a long time, but I know she's doing well. So you see, that's what I want from parents. I want that vigilance. I want that eagle eyeness. I want that sharpness. You should be able to tell that, okay, there's something wrong with this child, and it might be drug abuse. It might be caused by drug abuse. So we need to nip it in the bud. Many people have that first try that you just meant out of youthful exuberance, like you said, but then you don't let it to grow. You don't let it to germinate. Once it's nipped in the bud, the child knows that, okay, I've made a mistake. I will never touch it again. This is fire. You can't dance around fire and not get hot. It will eventually burn you. Once the child knows that, okay, this thing is going to hurt me, and you explain the consequences properly to the child, he or she will never go back to it.
Wow. And I think again, the important thing is if you are in doubt, because all of us will always be in doubt. As you said, there are fine edges. And it's only people like you with sharp eyes and experience that would be able to tell for sure. If you are in doubt at all, just reach out. Reach out to
Yes,
somebody that knows. I mean,
exactly.
I know you are on
Exactly.
Instagram, you are an extremely open person. Reach out, please, because
Exactly.
hey, the
Exactly.
thing I'm hearing, as I said, it's crazy. Okay, so now just last Friday when we were on our live, one
Okay.
of there's this thing that has been going on. A lot of people are now very worried about the pop culture that our
Okay.
children are being, should I say,
Exposed to.
indoctrinated into. It's a norm
Exposed.
for them now.
Yeah.
A lot of people are worried. What do you think? I mean, Mr. Taiwo Akinlami, he did a live on it the same time we're live on Friday. Prince
Okay.
Bowe has been screaming on top of his lungs about this pop culture issue. So, in your own opinion and experience, what role do you think pop culture plays in acceptance and normalization of drug use for our young children?
I mean, it's horrible because they make it look cool in quotes. There are videos you see. of popular pop culture musicians where they'll line tons of cocaine on the table with skimpily dressed women, with bodyguards holding weapons, with exotic animals just sitting down there that have been tamed, with wads of dollars all around. And then anybody that sees this just looks, oh my God, this looks like heaven. This looks cool. It is wrong. I don't know what our censors board is doing. I don't even know why we have a censors board, because they don't censor anything. They just let anything, they just let anything be aired on TV. It is wrong. It is really, really, really wrong. And it's pathetic. Pop culture, like I said on FM today, too, plays a major role in normalizing the drug use in this country because they make you feel it's okay. You have musicians that young children listen to. You have them singing about marijuana and how good it is and how it gives inspiration. These are all lies of the devil. I mean, who says you need to smoke marijuana to get inspiration for anything? Then what happens to other people who smoke, who don't smoke and have wonderful hits, wonderful songs, wonderful movies? So it's unfortunate that our government and institutions put in place to curb these menace are not doing enough by censoring these things and putting a cap on them and not allowing them be aired on TV or on radio. It's really unfortunate, but we'll get there. We're working on it. We're coordinating with relevant stakeholders, and we're actually pushing that these things should be off our screens.
I'm asking this question because I mean, like some of us, people think so. Parents like us are just being extra. Like me, I just all those songs. I'm like, no. I mean, what's like the message of this song? So, in my own opinion, I feel like. So, what do you think we can do as parents? Let me not say what me I'm doing. Generally, how do you think? Because I mean, even if you don't listen to these songs in your house or in your car or children, but they are going to be exposed to. I'm the kind of parent that if I carry my child to there was this birthday party I went to. They started playing Soapy. Hey, I went to the DJ. It's not my party. It's not somebody's child party. I went there and said, brother, I'm really sorry. You see this song?
It's pathetic. It's pathetic.
Please not play this song at this party. I mean, I was just ready that if you don't have the party come and come and start saying what nonsense are you doing? I quickly pack my children. We move. So how do you what steps do you think we can take to kind of shield our children's minds, because they will hear the songs very surely. Yes. They will hear it somewhere. It can be
it's played everywhere. In eateries, you go into some eateries, these songs are played because MTV Base, Hip TV, all of those channels are played in eateries. So you just need to educate them. You just really, really need to educate them. I remember when we were children and then there's a sex scene on TV, we all go like that and make sure we don't see it and things. I don't know if children still do that nowadays, but you just really need to educate them and let them know that white from black, wrong from right, and just let them know that these things aren't good for them. They will hear it. You know, my pastor used to say something, for example, the issue of dressing and indecent dressing with women. You can't stop a young male child from seeing indecent women. You can't stop him from seeing, because even on news channels, if he steps out of his house, he's going to see an indecently dressed woman in our present age and time now. You can't stop it. So the thing is, if you see it, don't look. Just see it and take your eyes away. Once you actually explain to them that some of these songs or some of this music or these videos are bad, they know that they'll see it out there, but they shouldn't pay attention to it. That's the role you have to play as a parent. You need to really let them know that they can't pay attention to these things. It's going to harm them in the long run.
Wow. Oh, thank you very much, Mr. David Folaranmi. It's been an amazing 2-day talk. And I must tell you that for me, it feels like I'm doing this video for myself. But I know that many parents are exactly like me. That's the truth. Many parents are average like me when it comes to drug-related issues. And I just want to thank you. We pray for you every time. God will bless your foundation and everything that you're doing. And if there's any way that we can support, I mean, God will also empower us to be able to do more by the grace of God. So I pray that you know your desires and your children, nobody you know and love will go through that path. In Jesus' name. Thank you so much for your time. I don't take your time.
before I leave Lagos, we
So
should make time out to take you and I. We should go to the bunk. I'll hold you
I
very
don't
well.
know
Don't
if
worry.
my
Nobody.
heart can take. I don't know if my heart is strong enough yet, but
No, it's okay. I'll hold you. You won't. Nobody's going to drag you away or drag your phone or your jewelry. There's a time we went to the bunk. I took there's an actress wanted to do a little documentary on drug abuse. So she was in Abuja, so I decided to take her into the bunk. And somebody just dragged her phone from her. It was a really scary experience, because
ah,
all those things here can be converted into drugs easily. So no, but I got it back for her. So because I knew the person. In fact, I knew the person in question who dragged it from her. So thank you very much. It's been an honor to be here.
it's a bigger honor. We don't take your time, your data, everything for granted.
No, no,
Thank you
no.
so very
Thank
much.
you.
God bless you.
I have.
We hope
I
we'll
have.
be of more use to you. And for parents, guys, like please just reach out if you are confused about anything at all. I know that David Folaranmi is very open. I mean, his DM is open as well. Everything about it is just open. Please slide him a DM privately
Please,
if you're in
please,
doubt
yes.
at all. If you have any questions, please reach out to him. I'm no expert in this issue. I'm just the advocate. What was John the Baptist again? The forerunner. I'm just the
Before.
forerunner in this case. So thank you so very much, sir. God bless you. My regards to
Thank
your
you so much.
family. We don't want this live to
Everybody,
be too long so that I replay. So thanks for
exactly.
everyone that popped in. I think the network is also not fantastic, but thanks for everyone that popped in at any point in time. And for those watching the replay, thank you guys. If you have any issues whatsoever, you know what to do. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. It's been an amazing conversation with David Folaranmi. My ears have heard things. But I mean, my own mantra in parenting, anybody who knows me knows that this is my parenting mantra. You cannot afford to parent out of fear, out of confusion, out of paranoia. So you can't be parenting out of paranoia that, hey, my child must not, before the child does one thing, you are dragging them around and harassing them. No, we can't afford it. We can't afford to parent out of fear or out of ignorance. We need to get knowledge. We need to use it. I read somewhere recently that knowledge is not free. You need to pay attention. Pay attention to your children. Pay attention to the warning signs. Please watch the replay. There's a reason I don't take out these videos from my timeline. They are always there. Watch it over and over and over and over and over and over again as much as you want. Please feel free. And this is a very serious issue. Drugs are available to children. They are everywhere. So it's not a matter of they are confused or they don't know where to get it from. They are everywhere. Let's be vigilant. Don't parent out of fear or paranoia or ignorance. Get knowledge, stay alert. We are here as parents to support them. Do the supporting. Thank you very much. God bless you. Take care, guys. Bye.